Good afternoon and welcome to the November 5th meeting of the HBDC. Once our clerk reads the directive from the governor and the procedural steps, we will open the meeting.
Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 28, 2025 signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025 extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws 30A, paragraph 20, until June 30, 2027, this meeting of the Chatham Historic Business District Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that people who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 702-039-080, hashtag, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Infinity Channel 102, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue, hearing, or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair. We have the following procedural steps. A roll call of all commission members will be taken to authorize this form of meeting. Any members of the public participating in the meeting via the phone only, please provide your name and the last 4 digits of your phone number for identification purposes. The clerk will read the agenda item. The applicant or their representative will present the application. Any member of the public with questions or comments may ask then when recognized by the chair. Public must identify themselves. The chair will ask each member if they have any questions or comments on the application. The chair will ask for a motion. One member must state their name and the motion. Another member will second the motion. The chair will ask members if there are any suggested conditions of approval. And each commission member will vote. All votes are taken by roll call. And at the end of the meeting, close the meeting via verbal confirmation and note time of adjournment.
Thank you, Sam. I will do a roll call, starting with you, Bob.
Bob Burns here.
Tim Gilmore, present.
Doug.
Doug Gratton is here.
Sam Strybert is here.
And Darcy Sequin is here as acting chair while Sam is away. Does anyone have any comment about the minutes?
Doug Gratton will make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Bob Burns, second.
Thank you. Doug, how do you vote?
Doug votes in favor.
Sam Strybert approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Bob Burns approves.
Darcy Sequin approves. What's first on? I'm sorry?
I jumped the gun on.
That's okay.
Okay. On the agenda,
Well, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
I forgot some very important people here. We have Central Permitting Coordinator Sarah Clark, Chantel Kinkenny, Community Development Secretary, and Shireen Davis from the Select Board as liaison to the HBDC. Okay, now you can proceed.
okay. The first applications are signs, 25-085, Mahjong, care of Bill Boudreau. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 726 Main Street. And the Central Permitting Planner, Sarah Clark, has determined that the size of the proposed wall sign is consistent with the size of the sign approved by the Sign Code Appeals Committee in 2019, which was 24 inches tall by 34 inches wide. No additional approval from the Sign Code Appeals Committee is required.
Okay, good afternoon. Would you state your name and what you'd like to do, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jill Boudreau. I think it was represented as Bill Boudreau, but I'm Jill. I'm the owner of Main Street Mahjong, which is about to open at 726 Main Street, just down from the Rotary. So as mentioned, I've submitted 2 applications, hopefully complete, that were presented before you, for a 24-inch by 34-inch sign over the front of the entrance. Chatham Sign Shop, I have a following application, which we'll talk about next, for the ground sign for the post that's been out in front for some time. Chatham Sign Shop is going to make this a classic Chatham carved wood sign with the colors that you can see presented: a navy blue, a raspberry tone, and then a lighter blue with a little bit of white.
Okay, we'll start with that sign. Doug, you have a comment or a question?
My only comment is I'm not crazy about the color selection that they have, being in the historic business district and that close to town with the raspberry and the light blue. I'd like to see a more of a historical combination, and that's my comment.
Okay. Sam?
Took the words out of my mouth. I think these are 2 jarring colors with a black background. It's rather Main Street Mahjong. It leaves more questions than answers. But I think generally the color selection is a little harsh.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
I would agree with my colleagues.
If I may interrupt for a second, it's not black, it's navy. I think the rendering that is up on the screen makes it appear black, but it's actually a Benjamin Moore navy.
Okay, Tim?
I would agree with my colleagues regarding the colors. I just don't think it's consistent with the characteristics of the Historic Business District Commission. In addition, I'd like to maybe see a border around the sign to maybe echo the windows, just maybe square it off, just because it kind of blends into the siding. Those are my only comments.
Yeah, I would agree with the comments. I just don't think the colors fit on the building, and I think they are a little bit too bright. So if we could, if you could consider different colors. The blue is fine, but I think the raspberry and the light blue just doesn't fit.
Do you have alternate colors that you would be able to choose from?
Well, these are all I mean, certainly I can tweak them, but I was taking lead as I drive down Main Street proper and look at Michael's jewelry, which is predominantly, the entire background is a brighter aqua color. When I look at Buffy's, when I look at White Marley with a bright cherry red. So I see a lot of color on a lot of signs as I drive down Main Street proper. I don't know if the entire length between the Rotary and Shore Road is all historic business district. I'm not familiar with the actual zoning delineation, but I felt that the colors, which are representative of my brand, were seen in many instances on many storefront signs that are very prominent in and around this whole Main Street corridor. I understand, and I think the point's well made about a border, but shrinking the font even more makes it a little harder to read anything from the street because the cottage is fairly and nicely set back from the actual vehicle passage.
I tend to agree with my commissioners that I don't think it's historic colors. And I guess we could proceed with a motion and a vote, but you're going to need 3 in the affirmative to get this passed. You can either withdraw the sign and redo it, or you can ask for a continuance and maybe come up with some other colors. What would you like to do?
So am I hearing that I can't use pink and a light blue on a navy background? When I guess I'm a little confused as to the permission. Is this a different zoning area than where Michael's Jewelry has the big sign in town and Buffy's and White Marley? It would help me to know if that's a similar zoning area.
I think you would have to bring those signs to us and let us see what they are. I don't think it's fair to the commissioners to just say that, oh, it's Michael's sign or White Marley. Would you be willing to do that? Okay, do you want to
Yeah,
ask?
absolutely. I'd be more than happy to.
Do you want to ask for a continuance
I'm sorry.
to November 18th, is it?
November 19th.
November 19th? Or beyond?
Yes, please.
Would you ask?
November 19th, please. I'm sorry.
Please ask for the continuance for November 19th.
Oh, may I have the continuance through November 19th, please?
Okay, Doug, would you make a motion, please?
Doug Grant will make a motion that we grant a continuance till November 19th for the application for 25-085 Mahjong, care of Jill Boudreau. The application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 726 Main Street.
Bob Burns, second.
How do you vote?
In favor of the
Continuance,
continuance.
Tim Gilmore in favor of continuance.
Sam,
Yeah, I approve.
the continuance.
Yes, I vote for the
Doug,
continuance.
Doug Grant votes in favor of the continuance.
and Darcy Sequin votes in favor of the continuance. We can read the
Thank you.
next- Go ahead, Sam. She's got another sign.
I just,
So
I'd like to make a comment. Before, your picture had the window behind your head, and as a result, your face was dark. Now, we're a little less able, because you've got a window behind you, it makes your face look very dark.
That's okay, Sam. You're
I know,
just-
I,
Just read the next application, please.
Application 25-86, Mahjong, care of Jill Boudreau. Application to install a ground sign located at 726 Main Street. And the sign cord,
Just read if she needs to go
So-
further with that.
proposed
1 second, Jill,
sign
please.
complies with the sign
Okay,
bylaw.
that's fine.
Just let-
Jill, would you like to continue with this application?
Yes.
Or you want it continued?
can we extend with a continuance through November 19th for the same reasons as the wall sign, please? I'd like to do that.
Okay, Doug, go
Okay,
ahead.
so Doug Grant will make a motion under signs, application 25-086 Mahjong, care of Jill Boudreau. Application to install a ground sign located at 726 Main Street to be continued until November 19th.
Bob Burns, second. And Bob Burns approves of the continuance.
Tim Gilmore approves of the continuance.
Sam Strawbird approves the continuance.
Doug Grant approves the continuance.
And Darcy Sequin approves of the continuance. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next application for a sign, 25-87, Dunkin' Donuts, care of Poignant Signs. Application to replace the roof sign on the structure located at 1563 Main Street. And the sign coordinator, the central permitting coordinator, Sarah Clark, has determined that the proposed roof sign complies with the sign bylaw. Should the applicant wish to replace the existing sign lighting, an additional application will be required.
Thank you. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Sean Dunman. I am from Poignant Signs out of New Bedford, Massachusetts, and we are the sign manufacturer and installer of these proposed signs that'll be going on the Dunkin' Donuts.
And what would you like to do?
Well, right now, as you probably know, the Dunkin' Donuts has changed its name to Dunkin', and this location is due for a annual remodel. They take place every 10 years. So we would be replacing the Dunkin' signs out of there that read Dunkin' Donuts. They're black background, gold letters, and we'll be doing like for like. In the new image, same exact same size signs with the Dunkin' letters. The sign themselves, we would be reusing the existing brackets that are currently on the building and on the roof. There's a sign on the rear, and then there's a sign on the roof. In the way this is on the intersection, it looks like one sign's on the rear, I would say on the rear facing of the building, and the other sign is on the one that would face the rotary. The front of the building does not have any signage that faces the road. And these are, again, as I mentioned, same exact size and footprint of the existing. We would be doing an aluminum frame panel sign with dimensional PVC graphics. The sign that's there now is currently HDU, which is sign foam type of substrate. So it's not really wood. So we kind of took the liberty to think that we could do something in the in the PVC, in the metals for longevity and lasting longer, but it would
Okay.
have that look of a wooden sign.
All right. Doug, do you have a comment?
I think the sign looks good. I don't have any comments.
Sam?
Yes, I guess I have no comments.
Okay.
Tim?
Question regarding the location. When I look at it, it interferes with those windows, and it looks like the windows are completely or at least half covered by the sign. Is there any other alternative area where you could actually see the outline of those windows?
It depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it from like a Google Street View, you've got perspective. But the sign does sit, if you look at the architectural elevations, the sign only probably takes up maybe visually about maybe 12 inches of the upper windows. Now, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure what's up there. It might just be a office space or a residence. I don't know the use of the building other than the Dunkin'. But this sign is it's really far forward. It's got a long sloped roof. So if you're in those windows, the sign doesn't bother you. I've been up on that roof to get measurements of the existing sign, and there's plenty of space and plenty of visibility if you're looking at those windows. But if you're on the road, driving around, you're gonna see whatever's in the forefront, and that sign and that, I'll call it about, is prominent to the road, where the rest of the building's set back. And you can kind of see that on this diagram. This would be where the roof would be on either one of these sides. I think this is where the roof sign is, so it's quite a bit out.
No further questions.
Yeah.
I like the sign. I like the black and gold. I have no further questions.
Yeah, I guess it's an old captain's home or something, if I understand correctly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion, please?
So Doug Grant will make a motion to signs, application 25-087, Dunkin' Donuts, care of Poignant Signs. Application to replace the roof sign on the structure located at 1593 Main Street as presented.
Bob Burns, second.
Thank you. Bob, how do you vote?
Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam?
Sam Stryver approves.
Doug Grant approves.
Darcy Sequin approves.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
I think, do we have another one?
25-088.
There's another one.
$25-088, Dunkin' Donuts, care of Poignant Signs, application to replace the ground sign located at 1563 Main Street.
You're not going to get away that easy.
It's like, oh,
Central-
that was easy.
The central permitting planner, Sarah Clark, has determined the applicant is seeking to replace the ground sign with a new ground sign, 36 inches high by 72 inches wide, 18 square feet, in the existing stanchion, which is located 0 to 15 feet from the road. The property is located within the general business GB3 zoning district. The proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Okay, please introduce yourself again.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm Sean Donovan from Poignant Signs. So what we're doing here, this is, we'll call it the freestanding sign. So there's an existing wooden structure, and there are a metal frame bracket between the wooden structure, and there are two single-phase sign panels that are on there currently. And we're doing, again, like for like. What's there right now is probably some sort of, I don't know if it's aluminum or a metal plywood base with dimensional graphics. We're doing the same thing. We're going to be offering, I believe it's aluminum panels with the dimensional PVC letters in the image you see. So not much changing, same exact size, current image.
Okay.
And I think the cup graphic is added just to fill some negative white space.
Doug, do you have a question or comment?
No, I think it looks great. No comments.
See?
I have no comments.
No questions.
No, I like your brand, how you're
thank you.
displaying it,
Yeah,
so no further questions.
And I have no questions.
So Doug Rao will make a motion on the signs, application 25-088, Dunkin' Donuts, care of Poignant Signs. Application to replace the ground sign located at 1563 Main Street as presented.
Bob Burns, second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam?
Sam Strybert approves.
Doug Ratton approves.
Darcy Sequin approves.
Okay, we have 25-089 Dunkin' Donuts, Poignant care of Poignant Signs, application to replace the wall sign on the structure located at 1563 Main Street. And Sarah Clark, the central permitting planner, has determined that the proposed sign requires approval from the Sign Code Appeals Committee. The applicant has filed and is scheduled to be heard on December 18th, 2025.
Introduction. All right, Sean Donovan from Poignant Signs.
Thank you.
So this, again, is very similar to the roof sign. It's going to be a metal substrate with dimensional PVC letters. We're going to reuse the existing brackets that are on the building. Again, same size, same everything. And it's, this is again on the rear facing, which I guess when it originally went up is, I guess, a controversy, but obviously I need historical to get to that point, so.
Okay. Doug, do you have?
So this sign is located on the back of the building, basically near Barn Hill Road.
Correct.
And do you feel that's a necessary location for an additional sign on the building?
For what it is, it works. When I went over to this site, again, it's unique. It's not like your typical, footprint, quick service restaurant store. It's an old building. If you're coming up that road, you get great visibility from right there. And then when you're in the rotary, you see the roof sign. If you're looking at the front of the building or coming in from the other direction, the freestanding pylon sign represents, the brand. And it's probably why it ended up in the back of the building. I think, if I understand the code correctly, they're allowed two wall signs that face the road. So when they did it originally, I guess a last-minute decision might have been made to put it in the back, or they just never finished filing their application. But it definitely, it serves its purpose back there. It gives it some visibility.
Okay. Well, so I think the sign looks nice, but if we didn't need another sign, I'd be in favor of that, but that's my comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam?
So, well, I think it's definitely more legible than the previous sign,
Yep.
but it had its own recognition, so I think this fits with the back of that house, and I have no further questions.
Tim?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. How does the commission feel about the sign in the back? You have to go to the
Yeah,
appeals,
we'll have
but
to go,
anyway.
we'll have to finish that again. The only I can really think of when they originally went up, they fell short of doing that. I think they had 2 signs, and it's a unique building. I mean, in the sense of it's not typical of a quick service location, and it's almost the obvious spot for it, but it's, again, doesn't face a main road. So we'll hopefully get through that, but
Okay, does anybody have any further comments about the sign? You okay with it? All right. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Well, what is the reason? Is because
If
you're
I
making it
might-
larger?
no, not making it larger. I think because if originally, and I'm guessing a little bit here, but it was probably granted special permit by the zoning board at the time, and the application might have fallen short, if I understand that correctly. Like, they didn't get approval?
When the sign was approved originally by the commission in 2009, the second step of going to sign code appeals to get the approval for it was never done. So now that they're replacing it, the original sign permit said the sign permit's valid unless the face of the sign changes.
Okay,
The face is changing, so now they're required to seek sign code appeals
Okay.
approval.
It's because the sign has changed.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
okay, you okay with it?
Sure. So Doug, I'll make a motion on the signs, application 25-089, Dunkin' Donuts, care of Poignant Signs. Application to replace the wall sign on the structure located at 1563 as presented.
Bob Burns, second. And Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Strawberry approves.
Doug Ratton approves.
Darcy Sequin approves.
Okay.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you very much.
All right, have a good night. Thank you.
The next applications are under the category of additions and alterations. Application number 25-79, 352 Main Street Realty Trust, care of Schneeberger Collective. Application to replace the light fixtures and add a copper chimney cap on the dwellings located at 352 Main Street.
Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Leslie Schneeberger. Nice to see all of you. I'm representative for Brendan Bradley and Carrie James, the owners of 352 Main Street. I know you've seen this house quite a few times recently. Ironically, actually, what's before you right now is what has started a chain of a lot of repairs to a home. An insurance inspection required some chimney spark arresters be put on the chimney caps. We found some faulty windows, all sorts of things. So what's before you now is copper chimney caps that represent spark arresters on all chimneys with the exception of one. They all look exactly the same. The fourth that is different is actually a shroud that's going to be covering a gas, the exhaust vent for a zero clearance gas fireplace. You can see on the application, there's an image that is generally the concept of what these caps look like. And then in the rendering and the elevations, you see the real ones, whereas this is just an image from the manufacturer. And then the other scope of work is replacement of lights, exterior lights. On the lowest level, on the ground level, the replacement that is being requested is onion lights that you can see from Nauset Lantern in copper. And then upstairs, where it's a little tighter, it's more of a ship light by the ship light manufacturer, also in copper. There are, I believe, 2 on the lowest level called out in the drawings and 2 up on the upper level. And any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. You have any questions, Doug?
No, I think it's a nice addition to the home.
Sam?
The only thing is, are the chimneys functioning okay the way they are right now?
Well, yes and no. The one that's being converted to gas has a lot of spalling problems, and we are repairing them as far as some repointing and things. But yes, they are working fireplaces.
Okay. So this is really decorative more than,
Well, the spark arresters are a precautionary measure because of the cedar roof. And then the actual decorative, because it would look pretty odd if we didn't cover up and
no, I think that'd
match
be
the floor.
very attractive. So
Thank you very much.
I have no further questions.
I think it fits very well with the district, and I think they're great changes.
Great, thank you.
I think it's well done, and I look forward to seeing the It's all blue now. to
It's
see
a
the
little
finish.
blue right
It's a little
now.
blue, but look forward to
Windows are
seeing.
coming in right now, actually.
No further questions.
Yes, I look forward to the finished product also, and it does fit in with the district very nicely. Thank you.
So Doug Rat will make a motion under additions/alterations. Application 25-079, 352 Main Street Realty Trust, care of Schneeberger Collective. Application to replace the light fixtures and add copper chimney caps on the dwelling located at 352 Main Street as presented.
Bob Burns second, and Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Strybert approves.
Doug Ratton approves.
And Darcy Sequin approves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Demolition, new construction, 25-80, Town of Chatham, care of Catalyst Architecture and Interiors, application to construct additions, an entry vestibule, dormers, egress stair tower, landscaping, and to relocate the wall sign on the structure located at 193 Stony Hill Road.
Good afternoon, sir. Would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you'd like to do?
Okay. We've got a big package that we've submitted, but I'll try to go through it quickly, and then we can go back to any slides you need to if you have questions. My name's Kurt Raber. I'm one of the principal architects at Catalyst Architecture and Interiors in Yarmouthport.
Excuse me one second. Could you move the mic just a little bit closer? Thanks.
Sure.
That would be
Or maybe
great.
I'll move closer to it.
There you go.
Kurt Raber from Catalyst Architecture in Yarmouthport, and we're happy to be here representing the town on the improvements at the CFAL building on Stony Hill Road. So what you're looking at here is just some informational pages that we created, existing photos. The top is, of course, the front elevation facing Stony Hill Road, and I would note that the additions that we're proposing will modify this elevation the most, where we'll be adding a dormer on the right side of the building where there's currently a skylight. We'll also be adding a shed dormer on the left mass of the building to mimic the shed dormer that's already there. We'll be moving the flagpole and creating a small addition in front of the building. The photo at the bottom of the page is the west elevation, and that will mostly be covered by a new addition, which we'll show you in the proposed drawings. Next slide. Top of the page is the existing condition at the rear right side of the building. This is sort of a temporary, what was erected as a temporary accessible entrance to the rear door, which is a small vestibule that's was built under the fire escape stair from the second floor. The bottom of the page is the right side of the building facing the parking lot. That really won't change very much. Here we are looking at your application. And we'll be using asphalt shingles, cedar, white cedar shingle siding, or, both cedar mill wall shingles, which are a James Hardy shingle product, and that's the Booth Bay Blue. That will be at the front entrance. We'll be using the Hardy clapboard in white on our renovated exterior elevations, mostly on the front, south side, and left, west side. Our windows and doors will be casing in the Versatex. It's like an AZAC board. Those will all be painted, of course. Windows will be Anderson. The front door will be an aluminum commercial entrance. We do have Therma-Tru entry doors at other exits. We'll use the Trex handrail product, and these cut sheets of all these products are also amended to the back of the drawings in your application. White aluminum gutters, site lighting, we'll have bollard lights and some decorative lighting on the face of the building, which we've put cut sheets in the application. And then, of course, we do have some decking on our, the front ramp at the front door will be concrete, but there is a ramp on the left west elevation, and that will be wood-framed ramp with the AZAC decking material. And lastly, we'll use some cut aluminum letters for the building numbers on the new front entry gable. So here we're looking at a rendering from our set of drawings. And I would note that the large gable that sort of comes out towards the street on the left side has a new shed dormer on the right side of that mass. On the far left, there's a little shed, it's almost like a salt box addition. And that's because we're expanding the size of the dining room in the building. And that's a roughly 24-foot by 9-foot addition. There's the dormer on the second floor, and then behind the flagpole on the second floor, there's another dormer. And that expands the conference room and the office space on that level. The Booth Bay Blue shingles are on the proposed addition in the first floor in sort of that front courtyard. And we're adding a 10-foot by roughly 28-foot wide addition there, which includes the new entrance. It includes an office space, a coat room, and a storage room immediately adjacent to the large dining room. So we do propose that the whole building will be reshingled. The roof will be, because there's been a lot of leaks, and where we're interrupting existing roofs with new dormers, and so all the roof and roof flashing will be new throughout the whole building. Where our work affects an existing elevation, we'll be providing new running trim and casings around doors and windows, and the new hardy clapboard siding. And this color palette and this material selections are really based on durability. And the town asked for something that would be durable and long-lasting, easier to maintain than the cedar shingles and the pine, primed pine and painted pine trim that's on the building now. Our drawings do show that our work is really where we're touching the building. It doesn't include the entire elevation or every surface of the elevation. So in this image at the bottom of the page, for instance, the elevation there, which is all white, is an existing surface that's going to remain as is today. We're working with the working group and the CFAL to try to keep this project on budget, and that's a challenge in itself. But we are thinking that if we do have contingency dollars, we may extend the siding program around the entire property if funding allows. Of course, if we alter the scope of our work, we would revise our elevations and come back here. So at the top of the page is the proposed architectural elevation. Again, shows the two dormers, the addition on the left. The first floor addition on the left is sort of that salt box. Beyond that, the addition steps up to 2 stories, and that provides some needed office space, and it also encloses a new egress stairwell. The current design, you may remember from the first image we looked at, there's a old pressure-treated stairwell that's 3 stories tall on that west side of the building. That's one of the required egresses out of the building, which just isn't safe in rain and winter conditions. So the addition is 3 stories tall at that back left corner of the property, and that's to enclose that new stairwell that links all 3 floors of the building. Maybe the next slide. The top of the page shows the rear elevation. Again, this is the north side, or so I guess it's west compass. The far right of the upper image is, again, to the right of the white wall is the addition. And there's an office on the basement level, and then another office storage space on the first floor, and a small office for the SHINE program, which is volunteer assistance program that is run out of the CFAL building. And then the second half of that addition is that 3-story egress stair. Bottom of the page is the south elevation, again with the 3-story addition at the rear and the 1-story addition at the first floor. And then there's the new wood ramp. And that ramp on that building is, one, it's a required egress from the building, but it's also the entrance for the Meals on Wheels program. So the volunteers that come to the CFAL to pick up a cooler loaded with Meals on Wheels packages, they park their car in the loop driveway, take their cooler, go up this walkway, go into the back of the kitchen, fill their coolers for their route, and then go back down this, instead of taking that Meals on Wheels program through the general lobby of the building. So it's an egress and a functional ingress and, or delivery and path for the Meals on Wheels program. I guess we can move on.
Where would you like to go next, Kurt? Lighting or signage or?
I guess which image, is this 20, is this page 24? I guess it's just the next sheet.
So that's the end of the elevations, did you?
Oh, okay, yeah. And if you want, we provided all the plans and everything. We can come back to those if you have questions. So let's go to the first of the materials slides, which I think was the James Hardy products. There you go, that one. Right, so this is the Cedar Mill shingle, and we'll be providing those in the Booth Bay Blue. And I believe we actually provided a sample of that Booth Bay Blue. And that's just for the first floor entrance addition right in the front L of the building. The next product is the Hardy lap siding, which is like a clapboard. And we'll be using this on all the elevation faces that our work touches. And it's basically from the front right corner of the building around to the far back corner on the left side. So about 50% of the building elevation is going to get this new siding and trim. And like I mentioned before, we hope to extend that program around the whole building if funds allow. Next slide. This is just product literature from Versatech. They're a competitor to AZAC, but it is a cellular PVC trim product, which of course we glue and screw, and then we require that it be painted, typically that it's co-warranted with Sherwin-Williams Duration paint, and it just holds paint superior, much superior product and finish to a pine or a cedar. I have it on my own house. I painted the trim 15 years ago and haven't touched it since. Again, this is a trim board product, which we'll be using on some of the fascias and soffits. The next slide is about the Anderson windows, I believe, which I think you're very familiar with, the Anderson A-Series vinyl clad wood window system. We're proposing those in a 2/2 light configuration. And then going down, yeah, we're into the doors. We have Thermatrude doors at the side and rear. We're talking about a 9-light over 2-panel. And these are just the ingress and egress doors at the side and rear elevations. The main elevation, we are proposing a Conair-style aluminum frame, just because it's going to have a mechanical opener, and there's just going to be so many passages through that vestibule. So we have a full-light aluminum frame under our new front entrance portico, but that's the only aluminum door we would have. And I think from there, there's a slide about the railings. For some reason, black is what all the literature comes in these days. It does come in a white. We would be using white railings on our ramps. And our small entrance portico has a few stairs to grade, so there'll be a railing like this, but it's only 3 risers high. Similar at the back entrance, we'll have a small set of stairs that'll have a handrail like this. Again, just selected for durability, factory finish, no maintenance. And then we've got some fencing. If we go skip down to, I think it's one more page or 2 more pages. Yeah, that one, 22. 22, this is, we're proposing to use this Trex transition railing as a guardrail fence. We're adding some deep window wells to the basements, and we're gonna actually put some larger basement windows in because one of the programs that's gonna reside in the basement level is the senior day program. And that space, we propose to put in 3 deeper wells, which will have larger windows than the typical little basement sash windows that are way overhead. And that's for air and light. And those are going to be about 50 inches deep, so they need a guardrail around the perimeter. And that does show up on our front elevation as well. We submitted on an aluminum gutter, which is pretty standard. And the next page is, I think, gets into our lighting. At our front walkway, along our loop driveway in the front, we propose, instead of having lamp posts, to have these nice bollards that kind of limit the light down to, and shine it only on the walking surface. So we propose, I think, 3 of those in our front yard. The next fixture is a lantern, which will be on sort of a gooseneck that, on our front elevation. You can see that there. And that's to illuminate the sign. The existing sign on the building is more like a quarterboard carved sign, and it's currently on the center of the building. We propose to move it over to the left mass of the building. And the next light fixture is a smaller wall sconce. That'll be at the rear and side entrance doors. And then there's one more next little fixture. We've got a handful of these around the building to kind of hold up underneath the eave and discreetly light the ramp on the left side of the building, but not have large fixtures. And we needed something that was tight to the face of the building because it hangs into the clear space of the ramp, the travel space of the ramp itself. And they're also subtle. We included a couple pages for the Trex decking, which is, again, a PVC composite deck system. Will be using this as the walking surface on the left side ramp, or the south side ramp. And then finally was just part of our signage package is we'll be using these laser cut aluminum letters for building number on that little gable that we're introducing, the portico at the new front door. So with that, I think I'll stop presenting and take some questions.
Thank you. Excellent presentation. Thank you for all the information. I'm sure we have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Doug, do you want to start?
Well, first of all, yeah, great presentation. I certainly love the improvements to the property. I like the blue as a nice contrast, and I think it ties everything together, very, very Chatham looking. The only comment I really have is it'd be great if they had the funds to redo the whole exterior, so it was all new and all matched. But I think everything else looks very good, and I have no questions.
Okay. Sam?
Well, there's an enormous amount of material to cover here, and it's a little hard. And I think what we would like to see is that the whole building, with additions and everything, becomes a organized entity of its own. And I think you've done with dormers and done nice things for the front. But in the back, my eye catches the stair tower, which is taken up above the roof edge, and it's a flat roof.
Oh, that's the existing elevator in the center of the building?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the existing elevator shaft that was added many years ago.
so that's a vent for the elevator.
It is. As part of our project, well, as part of the overall project, the town is looking into modernizing the existing elevator equipment. If that goes through as planned, then the vent could go away, because a modern elevator equipment will not require the vent.
Okay,
So there's a possibility that that vent goes away. And as I mentioned before, the working group that you've probably read about is studying, sort of wrapping all the sort of vacant white part of this building with the new siding program, if funds allow. So the new stair tower is actually the far right side of this drawing to the right of the three stacked windows. That's the stair. But the elevator itself, in this application, we're not altering at this time. I would love to scalp that off, but it's the overrun height is required, but we may be reciting that, and we'll bring that back if we have the opportunity.
all right. We'll wait to see whether that, so that's an existing,
It's an existing elevator, existing shingles, existing louver.
is that
And
gonna
and of course,
remain?
it allows a lot of cold air to flow in there. If you were to step into that elevator today, it's pretty cold.
Yeah. Then I wanted to ask you about the windows. And when you described the Anderson windows, there were 2 over 2. Is that what you said?
I meant to say 1/1.
1 over 1? is
Yeah,
what-
right, just as we've drawn. I misspoke.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it's a shame, because I think the building would fit in better to Chatham if there were 6 over 6. But that's just my opinion. You're probably constrained by the way the project was presented.
And if the project were to evolve, it would include replacing the rest of the windows. I think we'd have the opportunity to look at something. We stayed with the 1/1 because we were trying to match what we were leaving.
Okay,
If, again, we came back with a revision that wrapped the whole building in new siding, I think we'd be open to talking about that.
all right, those are my comments.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
I think it's a great presentation, and in totality, I think everything you've done is very complimentary to the district, and I think it looks good. Hopefully, we can address some of those further concerns, such as Sam brought up the windows and some other things with siding, if the funds become available. But as it stands, I think you've done a wonderful project.
Thanks.
One question, the blue, these are going to be shakes in the front, not clapboards?
Yes, the blue portion there, that one-story little bump out.
Will be shakes.
Is going to be the blue cementatious shake.
Okay,
And not, the rest of it will be a clapboard.
Clapboard, and the color is going to be white?
Yes.
It's all white, okay. And I look forward to you getting some more funds
Thank you.
to do it. So,
We hope that comes about. I'm sure you'll be
okay.
reading about
No
it.
further questions. Thank you.
Okay.
One other question.
Go ahead.
I noticed the shutters on the existing building, and they're gone in your renderings.
Yeah. Do you miss them? We struggled with that, not just the architecture firm, but the working group, our little building committee. We kind of talked about it, and we said, well, if we add them one place, do we have to add them everywhere?
Everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere?
And so it would be a means of unifying the whole project. But I realize that it's an incredible expense.
And of course,
And
the
maintenance.
existing shingle, the existing shutters are faux plastic ones. They're not real. And we thought, we're changing the building enough, and the committee kept saying they wanted something sort of a little bit more modern, a little bit fresher. And then everybody kind of looked at the drawings with and without the shutters, and everybody landed on the without. So it's certainly our preference to go without.
Okay.
I think, excuse me, what you've done is an excellent part of the historic district. I think it fits in nicely. Does anyone in the audience want to speak to this? No one? Go ahead. Go to the podium, please. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like to see.
Ron Holmes, Waiting Place Path. I was just curious about the choice of Anderson windows. I think anybody who has ever priced windows has the Anderson brand manufacturer come in far and away the top. When we're short on funds, is that the best choice? That's my question.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else? Okay, go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, so Doug Grant will make a motion under demolition / new construction, application 25-080, Town of Chatham, care of Catalyst Architecture and Interiors. Application to construct additions and entry vestibule, dormers, egress stair tower, landscaping, and relocate the wall sign on the structure located at 193 Stony Hill Road as presented.
Bob Burns, second. And Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Stryber approves.
Doug Grattan approves.
And Darcy Sequin approves. Thank you very much.
Could I add one thing to answer the gentleman's question? Under the.
We've closed the, are we allowed to do that? I think we've closed the hearing.
You have, if you would like to contact,
Make a comment.
I was gonna say,
Okay,
the drawings are gonna include Anderson. The spec book that goes along with the project will list at least 2 others. By statute, state statute, we have to list 3 acceptable manufacturers. So we will get competitive pricing on windows through that process. I want to add.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. Sam, what's
Okay,
next?
moving on to 25-83, Eastward Companies. Application to construct a new dwelling, pool, and associated landscaping and hardscaping on the project located at 33 Crowell Road.
Excuse me, Chairperson, I'd just like to mention that Eastwood Companies is a client of mine, and I'm not sure if I'll be involved with this project or not, but just to put it out there, I did do the proper form.
As a disclosure. Okay, thank you. Hey, Susan, would you introduce
Hi.
yourself, please?
Hi, sure. Susan Ledoux from Eastward Companies. And I'm here, if you look at the application, it does say 2 Crowell Road. We found out the address number will be 33. So I'm here submitting the attached application for the new construction to construct a new single-family home and complete associated site work at 33 Crowell Road. And as shown on the attached assessor's map and site plan, this is a vacant lot located in the GB3 zone, and the new home will be located approximately 50.3 feet from Crowell Road. And the following schedule of exterior materials and products are proposed and shown on the attached house plan, site plan, landscape plan, and photos. And I think you all probably know this lot. It's behind the real estate office from the corner of 28 or Main Street and Crowell Road. And it's heavily vegetated. So I'll go over the schedule of materials. The exterior color or the siding material and trim, the front elevation of the home will be sided with red cedar clapboard painted white. The remaining sides of the house will be sided with pre-dipped white single cedar shingles. The farmer's porch will be sided with the vertical board painted white, a heavier trim, built-out rakes, PVC AZAC will be white. The shutters will be black vinyl louvered shutters on the front elevation. The roof color material, architectural grade asphalt, GAF, pewter wood gray, and there's a photo of a similar house. Front porch would be brick with bluestone. The covered side porch and posts will be brick and bluestone, white composite posts. Rear second floor deck, AZAC decking, slate gray with Intex rail system, white. Windows, the Anderson 400 series with applied interior and exterior grills throughout, and there are cut sheets attached. The front door will be a Therma-Tru fiberglass door with 2 lights with 4 panels below, side lights to match in black, and cut sheet and photo are attached. Other exterior doors will be Therma-Tru fiberglass doors in black. The foundation will be poured concrete. The garage will be attached, 2-car garage with carriage-style doors as shown, Wayne Dalton, 9700 Providence, 12 light square top white. The chimney will be stucco-faced box painted white with a copper cap, 52-inch by 52-inch, 4 feet high, and there is a house plan of a photo of a similar house. The driveway will be a paved driveway. Walkways and patio, the front walk, farmer's porch walk, and rear pool patio will be paver blocks. And the retaining wall, it was a very low retaining wall at the rear of the garage, will be a modular block, not to exceed 3 feet on the outer face, and there is an attached photo. The exterior light fixtures will be onion lights mounted on light blocks next to the exterior doors, and they will be verdigris or an antique brass. Exterior mechanicals, 2 air conditioner condenser units are proposed. One will be behind the west of the garage and one will be on the south side of the garage. Pool equipment will be behind and west of the garage. All exterior mechanicals will be out of public's view and will meet the required setbacks. Landscaping, hardscaping, there is a landscape plan with details, and it's basically ornamental foundation plants, and we will be attempting to save an existing tree. If you see the front walk wiggling around that existing large tree on the landscape plan. And then there are the existing photos of the site, the street frontage, there's an aerial overhead view of the site, and the assessor's card. Just to mention a couple of things, we are scheduled with the Zoning Board of Appeals on the 20th of this month for the house and the pool for a special permit in the GB3 zone. And actually, the commission saw this same house proposal when we were before you at 2550 Main Street in South Chatham back in May. And we are still going to demolish the house that is at that site, but you did get a peek at the very same house plans, and we are building this house on that location. And that's, I'll be glad to answer any questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I just have one question. The pool equipment and the generators, do you propose to put some greenery around it or something to shelter them from other people being able to see them?
Yeah, we can do that. I can add those.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
great. Okay. All right, Doug, do you have any questions?
No, it seems pretty straightforward, and we have seen the house before, so I have no questions.
Okay, what I'd like to do is put the landscaping off till last, if anybody has any questions on that, if that's okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, I think that we've seen this house before and approved it basically in whole. I think it's perfect for this site, and I think its presentation to the street is very, very, very good. So I have no particular concerns. There's I think there's that image that's up on there has a dormer on this side. The existing house, the presented house has a full roof going across the front. So, and it's good that there's no dormer in that front. It'll look very, very small scale back in that wooded lot. So I hope you don't clear cut the whole lot. That's mine.
Thank you. Tim?
I don't have any questions.
Well done, no questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about the landscaping?
I do not.
Sam?
No, I don't.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, I'd like a motion, please.
So Doug Rowell will make a motion on a demolition/new construction, application 25-083, Eastwood Companies, application to construct a new dwelling, pool, and associated landscaping and hardscaping on the property located at 33 Kroll Road as presented.
Bob Burns, second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Doug Ratton approves.
Sam Stravert approves.
Darcy Sequin approves. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next.
Okay, next is 25-84 Chatham Productions, LLC, care of Victoria Clark. Application to demolish the existing structure located at 776 Main Street.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Victoria Clark with Chatham Productions. First, I wanted to thank the board for taking the time to meet with us to walk the site last week. We think that would be helpful, but I do kind of want to backtrack a little bit before kind of leading to how we got where we are now, because we've been coming in front of this board since 2019 regarding this property. So in 2020, when we purchased this property, or 2019, excuse me, we stated from the beginning, we were trying to build a residential component on the back half in order to fund the front half. We originally tried to do condos in the back, and that was shot down. And during that process, in 2019 through 2020, we tried to bring the Washington Taylor House and the Monomoy Theater through the National Park Service registry. Part of the reason we did this was because you can get federal tax credits for rehabilitation and restoration for projects. Part of the reason we really wanted these was because we knew this project would be a big undertaking and it would alleviate the burden of the cost of this. We went through 5 iterations with the National Park Service, and they told us that we didn't have adequate enough information on the property. There wasn't enough history. It did not meet their criteria. I know every town, state, et cetera, has different criteria, but for the federal tax credits, these structures did not meet their criteria. Nevertheless, we still wanted to restore these buildings, which is why in 2022, when we designed single-family homes on the back half of the property, we brought the board a redesign and expansion of the theater and the Washington Taylor House that we presented a few times. And during those iterations, we knew we would be paying for it. The whole reason we wanted to build the single-family houses was so that we could pay for the restorations, because we knew that to expand the theater, to bring it up to code, to add bathrooms, to make all the corrections and the necessary renovations, we estimated it would cost a little over $4 million, which is a pricey feat, and that's why we wanted to do the residential portion. So where we are now is, now that we are not doing a residential portion in the back, that's not happening, we are moving forward with commercial use on this property. And the biggest issue with this structure specifically is that when we purchased the property, it was already in disrepair. Prior to closing on the property, we had an inspection done by a structural engineer who did a written report. They did no form of component load tests or non-destructive tests. They did it based upon observations on the site, including some of the photos that we sent you from their structural report. Their conclusion was a lot of the construction, as we're aware, the theater itself had been built through multiple additions through over years at different points in times. Their conclusion was the construction was done a little shoddily. Primarily, the biggest issues were the framing system was sloped in many places. The floor was noticeably not level throughout. The wood framing over the basement, which is directly under the stage, is supported by trees that were cut from the woods behind, acting as exterior posts. Wood joists at the seating and stage areas were notched to accommodate piping. There were leaks, there were mold, and there was various code violations. While we have always been aware of these issues, we were planning on renovating and expanding when we were planning on renovating and expanding this theater, we understood that we would be stripping the building down to the exterior wall framework and reconstructing the entire floor and roof framework. But now our plan is we do not plan to move forward with constructing a theater. So stripping the building to create a level floor for the renovations that we would need to make in order for traditional commercial use, we do not feel is necessary based upon the state of the building. Similarly, as I shared with you, there have been numerous break-ins that have only increased over the last year, and it has become a public nuisance because despite what we do to prevent people from entering, young people are entering, just breaking, entering, destroying property. Up most recently, someone tried to light a fire, and that's kind of what brought us here now, just because we feel that this structure is not suitable for other commercial use, which is why we're looking to demolish it.
Okay, before I turn it over to the board, we have some correspondence I'd like to read. I'll do this one, and then you can do those, if that's okay. All right, to the Historic Business District Commission from Michael Anderson, Chief of Police. Request for comment, application 25-84, 776 Main Street, Monomoy Theater. On October 7th, 2025, this department fulfilled a police records request for reports for break-ins, et cetera, that have occurred at our property, 776 Main Street, the former Monomoy Theater. While we have owned the property 6 years, there have been quite a few. This request was from Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark. The department provided the following: 9/28/2025, past break and entry, unsecured door and entrance gained. 8/23/2025, officer located unsecured door to closed building. 8/16/2025, vandalism, reported new smashed windows, plywood barriers removed. 8/1/2025, 3 juveniles encountered attempting to enter the closed building. 3/15/2025, public reported observing juveniles exiting that closed building's basement. 7/26/2021, former building caretaker reporting an unsecured door on the closed building. This recent uptick in suspicious criminal activity at this location is concerning. The Chatham Police Department has always embraced the broken windows theory on community policing. Simply stated, visible signs of disorder like broken windows, graffiti, and litter led to an escalation of criminal activity. The theory also involves the police department as well as other community stakeholders to address these issues by maintaining public order. Some of these methods include the repair of damage, area beautification, and/or the address and removal of attractive nuisances. An attractive nuisance is a dangerous condition on a property that might attract children to trespass, juveniles to vandalism, criminals to loiter, and other issues, including arson. These attractive nuisances create several risks: danger to the trespasser, liability for the property owner, risk to public safety personnel, risk to the environment. In the past, the police department has assisted other town departments in dealing with other properties considered attractive nuisances. It is the opinion of the police department that the once prestigious Monomoy Theater has evolved into an attractive nuisance. The department does not wish to impede any undertakings led by local officials who wish to have the property saved, restored, or recategorized. However, based on the recent uptick in criminal activity at 776 Main Street, the property in its current state will continue to be a site with risk. Please contact me if you have any additional information. And one more thing from Michael Anderson. In addition to the letter I drafted this week, which I just read, Chatham Police Department investigated another incident at the Monomoy Theater property last night, 11/4/25. Missing juvenile was known to enter and hide out in the building in the past. Chatham Police Department had Chatham Fire breach doorways to enter and search the property. Case 25-19690 would now be the 6th occasion police have been at that property in 2025. I have also advised the property owners of the same. Thanks, Mike. And we have a couple more.
I have 2 correspondences received by the commission to be read tonight. The first one, to the Historic Business District Commission of the Town of Chatham, Massachusetts. Dear members, we are the Predovich family of West Chatham and Nyack, New York. We are writing in regard to the proposed demolition of the historic buildings of Chatham's beloved Monomoy Theater. We first discovered the Monomoy in the divine town of Chatham 53 years ago when we came to work as students of Ohio University's theater program. The training we received at the Monomoy led us to professional careers in the theater, careers that saw us returning to the Monomoy many times as professional guest artists, passing on our experience and passions to later generations of students. Early on, the Monomoy established itself as one of Chatham's annual traditions. Summers on the Cape always included the 4th of July parade, nights at the ball field, and packing the kids and grandma in the car and going dressed up to see the weekly offering at the Monomoy. Grandparents joyously introduced their young ones to the magic of Shakespeare or the thrill of an Agatha Christie mystery for the first time. These were families that held season tickets for more than 50 years. When longtime resident of Chatham and former president of Ohio University, Dr. John Baker, purchased the former professional theater for his students, he gave our town and his institution a distinction unmatched anywhere in the country. This legacy was passed on to Dr. Baker's heirs and the town of Chatham to continue and safeguard. A family tradition that became our town's legacy. So that brings us to the current state of affairs. Time passes and financial needs change. Dr. Baker's heirs' priorities changed, and the Monomoy was sold to Mr. Clark, and the caveat with the caveat that he would honor the historic designation. After all, it is a historic building. As the property's owner, his responsibility was to maintain his property. Letting the property deteriorate is not a plan for our community's future, more like a scheme for personal gain. Isn't it time for the town and the current owner to reopen the original discussion about retaining these historic buildings as a community arts center for everyone's benefit? Sincerely, Dennis and Marcia Predovich, West Chatham. P.S. It is my hope that our letter can be read at the 4:30 meeting on November 5th, 2025.
Thank you.
Second letter received November 5th from the Chatham Historic Commission. Historic Business District Commission. The Chatham Historic Commission, CHC, met yesterday, November 4th, and discussed the application for demolition number 25-084-776 Main Street, Monomoy Theater Building. There was consensus that the subject property is historically significant, and therefore CHC should encourage the HBDC to issue, at a minimum, a demolition delay on the subject property, as well as require the applicant to immediately make the structure safe from intrusion, vandalism, and ensure no future deterioration occurs. The CHC and its professional preservation consultants, as early as 2011, had determined the subject property was historically significant and meets at least 3 of the 4 criteria for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. The property has been well documented by the CHC with Mass Historic Commission, MHC, which was the first step in the National Register of Historic Places listing. The CHC was preparing to submit a request to MHC in 2019 for a determination of eligibility for listing when the subject property was sold and the new owner asked to take over the process. At the time, the CHC provided its documentation and stood by to assist as necessary on the DOE process and an application for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. Respectfully submitted, Frank Messina, Chatham Historical Commission, Chairman.
Thank you, Tim. I have some questions before I turn it over to the commission. Has anything been done since you purchased the property to secure the building at all?
Yes, Greg can speak to that more. He's also.
Good evening, Greg Clark, how are you?
Good, thank you.
To answer that question, yes. From the very beginning, like Victoria said, we had an architect and a structural engineer do an inspection of the property because we knew it had been abused and neglected for over 50 years. And that's the reason why the theater was shut down. Don't forget, the theater was closed a full year before we purchased it. We actually made an offer with the Steinler family to the group that used to run the theater to allow them to run it that following summer before we closed on the property. That was rejected because it would require them to put money into the property that they were required to maintain under their triple net lease that they had with the Steinlers. So to answer the question, what did we do to protect it? We secured the building. The building had doors on it that were over 50 years old. So we secured them. And then Chief Anderson did a nice job writing the letter, but he didn't give you all the information. For instance, when we asked for the information on all the different incidents at the site, there's an incident in the record of someone trying to commit suicide there. There's an incident of a woman luring a young boy there and then tasing him on the site. And each time they would break in the building, no matter how they had to, smash a window. So we would go down and we would board it up, secure it, And again, they would just find another opening and smash in that opening. We requested the chief to write the letter because we think it's ridiculous that week after week, we get a phone call that someone has broken in a different way to the theater. Think about it. So this is saying that if you have a house here in Chatham and you go to Florida for the summer, you have to be concerned about your house being broken in by one of these people who we have names of them. We've never done anything to say, hey, what are we doing to these young juveniles that keep doing this? But some of them are repeat offenders. And it's very concerning to us, and we requested the chief, we said, hey, we think that the time has come. No matter what we do to protect the building, they find a way to break in. They come with tools, they remove plywood that's covering openings, or they just smash another window. So yes, we have spent many times coming down to secure different openings. Recently, we're even thinking of coming down and just boarding up every opening on the building. That probably won't stop them. Okay?
I can appreciate what you're saying, but boarding up the windows and the doors is, you know, just an invitation to somebody to break them down. Have you thought about putting a fence around the property to secure it?
We also would need to come in front of the HBDC.
I'm sorry.
We would need to come in front of the HBDC for fence approval. So we haven't done that, but primarily because we don't think putting a 6-foot tall fence would stop
Yeah.
people who want to break in from breaking in. Because it is in such a central location in town that we think people are going to do it regardless.
Okay, I have a couple of other questions. You said that you applied to the National Park Service. Do you have any documentation for that?
Yes, I have some of the letters.
Okay, because we don't have anything in our packets stating that, what the application is, and you said they were, there was a refusal. We don't have that.
So just to clear up that issue also, the Chatham Historical Commission submitted an application. What was the form?
It's the Form B, which I believe Sarah has a copy of the last iteration we submitted in July.
No, but when the Historic Commission.
They submitted a Form B as well.
They submitted it first.
Before us.
They submitted first, and how many years went by that they did not get a response of approval? It was a couple years. So when we came on, we took it, we cleaned up some things on it, we submitted it. They came back to us and said, there's not enough information here to lead us to believe these buildings are historic. Get us some more information on things. So the Washington Taylor House, for example, and we talked about this at the walkthrough the other day. If you go on to any document in the town of Chatham and look up Washington and Taylor, you're not going to find anything. So how is it that?
I appreciate what you're saying, but we can't talk about that because that's not on the agenda. We have to stick with the theater building.
I have a copy of the most recent letter. I know I probably should have included it. I can pass it around. I don't know if this,
I'm not sure that, you know, we should do that at this meeting. I think, you know, maybe a later meeting. But let me turn it over to the board.
Can I address
Commissioners.
Can I address the statements that were sent in?
I'm sorry?
Can I address the statements that were sent in? The letters?
The letters for,
The letters that were sent in that were read, can I address those?
to the Washington Taylor or the
No,
theater?
The theater,
Okay.
the theater. Okay, so the first thing I want to explain is that if you go to the town's regulations for the Chatham Historic Commission and the HBDC, it clearly tells you different things. And we're in the HBDC district, so we're governed by you. We're not governed by the Historic Commission. There seems to be a crossover being applied to us. There is no demolition delay that under your purview. They have a purview for demolition delay on things that apply to them. The other issue is that they keep saying, the Historic Commission keeps saying that these buildings are historic. So the regulations that guide them under section 6C, responsibilities, they say that the commission may make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen and other town agencies regarding the protection and preservation of properties that they think are historic. They don't just make a decision that says, we say that this property is historic. That has to go through the guidelines that are in their regulations. We researched this. There is no documentation anywhere saying that they brought this to an agency in the town or the selectmen or the Mass Historic Commission and got it approved as a historic building. So for all intents and purposes, it is not deemed a historic building by the town, the state, or the National Park Service.
I'm not sure if it's deemed not historic by the town of Chatham, but that's,
By their own guidelines, it isn't. That's what I'm telling you. If you read the guidelines that they have in here, that's what it
also,
says.
as far as the demolition delay, we would have to check with town council on that to see if we do have any purview of that, okay? Doug, questions?
I don't have any, well, I guess I have statements more than questions. You know, I know this company paid an awful lot of money for the site in 2019, and in my opinion, just sort of let it go, which is a shame because it's deteriorated over time, obviously, and not been secured. I say personally, I do not want the building torn down. I think it needs to be secured. I think they need to do a better job at, you know, again, fixing the broken windows, taking care of the doors that are damaged, maybe some exterior lighting. You know, we have lots of properties around Chatham that are vacant in the off-season, and I don't understand why this would be targeted, being in such a prominent location. So I think there are things that can be done to secure the property, and I would like to see it restored versus being torn down. In what capacity it could be used, I don't know, but I think it's a substantial structure that should remain in the town of Chatham.
Okay, thank you. Pam?
Well, I know the difficulties of a damaged building and trying to bring a damaged building up to some sort of preservation that will be ongoing. And dealing with vandalism is outside of my understanding. It seems to me that some prosecution should take place. That's just common sense. And securing the building with plywood covering the openings. Maybe a fence is required. But we just don't want to see this building go by default into demolition. We've been entrusted by the town, you've been entrusted by the town, and you know as well as I know the beloved nature of these buildings. And when you came on the scene, you promised that we would have a similar operation to what had endeared this building to the town. That was my understanding, that we would get Monomoy Theater back. I don't know whether it would be a summer teaching organization, or what sort of preservation would take place that would give life to this building and the front building. So, I mean, I recognize the call, the practicality, but this was a mission that was implied that we get the Monomoy Theater back. And I hate to be at the point where I have to go by default into voting for the demolition of this building. So that's.
Thank you.
that's my-
Tim?
You referenced a structural engineer report. When was that done?
Right before we purchased the property.
What year was that?
2019.
2019?
March of 2019.
There's been nothing done since, as far as that, structural engineering reports?
No reason to. The intention was to strip the building down anyway. We already knew that. When we purchased it, we knew it had to be done, based upon that one report. There's no reason to have another report.
And it sounds like you're able to provide the commission with some type of letter indicating the status of your submission.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I look forward to reading that and then seeing that, so that would be something I'd like to look at. Nothing further.
Bob?
Yeah, to continue on your comment, structural engineering report, is there one documented?
Yes.
So there is one.
The pictures that you saw came from that
Okay,
report.
can we see
Yes.
the full report?
Yep.
Number two, the registration with the National Park Service. It was denied.
Correct.
Can I see that? Can we
Yes, you
see
can.
the letter from them
Yes.
denying this property?
Yes.
Okay. A couple other comments. When you purchased the property 6 years ago, I think, being a resident of the town, I was very happy with the restoration. I said, that's great for the town. We should go ahead and do that. Moving forward, for the past 6 years, there's been, as others have mentioned on this committee, no effort to maintain or secure this property. If I were to leave my house, my property, and go on vacation or go away for 6 months, I would certainly want to secure the property. In a meeting back 2 years ago, when you were here, I had mentioned, I think it's on video, a comment that when I went through the property, drove around the back door was wide open. Wasn't broken into, there was no plywood taken down, the door was wide open. I walked in, I could have access to the entire thing.
The door was forced open.
Okay. My other concern is we continue to tear down buildings on the property. And we've approved other buildings on this property. Maybe we should not have done that. Approve without an approved plan for the property moving forward, which concerns me a lot. So here we go again with another building being torn down on that property. So until we see approved plan for the property, I am not in favor of any further demolition. Thank you.
Well, let me just clarify one thing for the board, because Sam said something about it, and Bob, you just said something about it, as if we promised to come here and spend $4 to $5 million on the theater for the good of the community. What we said very clearly, and go back and look at every meeting, we said, we would like to do that, but we need to make some money off the back of the property to use it on the front. We're not coming to the town asking the town to put money in, but these buildings are in total disrepair. And we walked through the other day, and Doug, you asked that question. You said the question, and I said to you, Doug, go over and touch the building. The 6 years that we've had it is not caused this disrepair. You can go over and crush a piece of trim that's dust, because no one had done anything on that building for 50 years. And when we were buying the building from the Steinlers, they documented that very well to us with correspondence between them and the two different universities that had the lease on the building. Okay? Just wanted to be very clear on it.
Is there any, I'm sorry, Bob, go
Another
ahead.
comment. One more comment that I missed. Doug had mentioned this about securing the property. I don't understand why you wouldn't have lighting in there. And you wouldn't have security cameras. And it's not, there's no lighting. There's no outside lighting, no security cameras. To me, I don't understand why it wasn't done.
Because we're trying to do a development. We didn't anticipate it's going to take 6 years to get to a point to be able to do something. So we're not going to go there and put in new security cameras that, who knows, the things that the kids have done, they may have destroyed the security cameras. They graffitied throughout the building. They've taken sections down that they want to use for whatever. So, yeah, we're not so keen on a building that we knew the floor had to come out completely, the roof was being raised, the exterior wall construction doesn't meet code. It had to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
So whether we did a new theater or we do something else, That's the facts of it.
But even to secure the rest of the property. You had other buildings there, you have, so I just don't understand the security issue. To me, I don't understand it. No further questions.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Go to the podium, please. Please go to the podium. We can't hear you otherwise, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, we also have 2 people online, so
My name's Alan Rust, and.
One second, please.
One
One second.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry, Madam Chair. After the
Frank.
audience, in-person audience has their comments, we do have 2 people online that would like to speak as
Okay,
well.
thank you.
And I worked at the theater for about 47 years. And some of what they said was true, some of it's not. The building was re-shingled within the 50-year period, I can assure you. Whether there's a record of it or not, I don't know. We could find out. I actually drove by once after the building had been, and I saw the doors open. And I looked in and I saw some of the ceiling was falling from my car. I went to the police station and I said, you really should tell the owners that someone's broken in. And it's a very dangerous place for people to be, and maybe they should secure it. And they said, yes, we know that. I said, because somebody could get seriously hurt or worse. And had that happened, this would be a very different meeting. I'm sure you would agree. The other thing I want to say is that for at least 47 years that I know of, the building was shut down for 9 months and never broken into by human beings. We had some raccoons once and some foxes. So I don't understand why it hasn't remained as secure as it was prior to that. I do appreciate the fact that it would take money to do what it is that you had planned to do, and we were very excited about seeing the plans that you had. And how that didn't go about is, I don't know. I mean, you've explained it. But I think it would be unfortunate to do what they call demolition by neglect, to take something down when we could have had a nice civic auditorium there, and maybe at some point somebody could. But I can't, the doors aren't 50 years old. I know some of them were replaced because I had them replaced. I also know that when we were inspected by the building inspector and by the health people and all of that, and they said the living spaces need to be fixed. And the owners did not wish to do that, so that's why they decided to sell it. They never said the theater did, and every time the theater was inspected, if there was something that had to be done, the university did it. Now, I agree with you. If you were going to take it over completely, you'd want to completely rebuild
Could
it.
you please direct your
If you were,
comments
sorry,
to the chair?
if you were going to take it over, you'd want to completely rebuild it. But that's really all I want to say, is that it wasn't quite as bad as it's made out, and it was never broken into before. I don't know why it happened, and it's a shame that it did, and it would be nice if it were secured so that that didn't happen. Primarily, not for the building, but for the safety of the young people that do it. That's why I went to the police station myself.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
We have 2 people online. Frank Messina.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, thank you very much. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and I'm really reluctant to say anything, quite honestly, because I've been involved with this property in many, many different ways, and I used to be on the board of the Monomoy Theater Group for years, and even back then, a lot of years ago, we had thought about getting it listed on the National Register because of its inherent cultural, historic impact on the town. And, but we didn't, and I became more involved in the Historical Commission. And the Historical Commission back as early as 2011 attempted to document the history of the Monomoy Theater, and it's well documented. I mentioned I was reluctant to speak about it because I've known Mr. Clark and Greg for a number of years, and I've tried to work as close as I could with him to help and assist them on what they were trying to do, which was to get tax credits for historic preservation. But I apologize, Greg, but I got to correct you. The Historical Commission, in documenting with our Form Bs, is a method of documentation in which we, the Historical Commission, hired consultants, preservation consultants, and we did in 2011 and also in 2019. And so we had professional consultants document the building and the Monomoy Theater to determine whether it was, in fact, historically significant and potentially eligible for listing on the National Register. Both preservation consultants, professional consultants, indicated, as I said in my letter to the HBDC, they found that at least 3 or 4 of the criteria for a listing on a National Register, that the theater property, Monomoy Theater complex, could be eligible for listing on the National Register. And here's where Craig and I disagree. The Historical Commission, any building anywhere in the town of Chatham, has the authority to proceed to document that. And that's what we did. The Historical Commission, without anybody's permission, also has the authority to apply to Mass Historic for a determination of eligibility. Is, in fact, this property eligible to be listed on the National Register? Getting listed on the National Register takes good 3 to 4 years. I've done 2 in Chatham so far, and trust me, I know how long it takes. So that step of, after we documented through professional consultants to document the history of the building, we never took it the next step because, quite honestly, the White Knight, great, you came along and you were going to fix up the building, and I was a very enthusiastic supporter of that, to make that happen. Unfortunately, I think if anybody wants to throw some blame around here, the town of Chatham has been lacking in its ability to come up with some kind of a compromise so we could have done what you had suggested to do, which is to put something else on the property that would generate some income for you to generate to reconstitute the theater. I know that's what you had intended to do, in my opinion, okay? But you need to understand there's 2 types of historic listing. Listing on the National Register of Historic Places is one thing. The Historical Commission has every right and obligation and authority to do that, okay? This building is in an historic district. The HBDC they can say no, or they can say yes. They have a lot of authority. The Historical Commission is just here as a consultant, if you will, or asking some advice, and I appreciate the fact that the HBDC reached out to us to give you a little bit of background. What you were attempting to do was to get tax credit. That's a whole nother ball of wax, okay? You can get tax credits, and there are different criteria. I agree with you. And you may or may not have been denied for those tax credits. I'm sure if you said you were, you were. But that is independent of the fact that as far as the town of Chatham's concerned, through the Chatham Historical Commission, we consider this building and this property to be historically significant and meet the criteria for eligibility for listing on the National Register. At hopefully some point, you never know, maybe we will do that at some time. So anyway, I apologize for the length of my conversation and wish you guys good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Frank.
Thank you.
And who do we have?
Hi, my name is Marianne Lewis. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and I apologize in advance if you hear a snoring bulldog in the background, if it's a distraction, but I can't get her to move. So I just wanted to, I really appreciate the thoughtful consideration you're giving this and your concerns. I was worried when I started to listen, but I feel that you guys all have the same concerns that I would. As just a resident and someone who has enjoyed numerous productions over the years through Monomoy Theater, what I want to get out there is that I'm noticing a growing trend in Chatham, both in commercial and residential properties, that people seem to buy an older structure with, oh, yes, we're going to restore it. Oh, it's going to be great. Yes, we're going to do X, Y, Z. And then they just ignore it and let it go into further disrepair, knowing that, they bought something that was not in the best shape. And then wait long enough that's like, oops, sorry. Now there's nothing we can do. It needs to be demolished so I can make bundles of money over it by turning it over and flipping it, or, putting, more restaurants or shops, even though there are many retail stores downtown right now who are empty. And I can think one restaurant too that's empty. It just seems that it's a trend of, okay, we're going to take old things and make them new. And in that way, we lose parts of Chatham that are very special. And I don't know the people involved in the Monomoy, purchase and trying to, turn it into condos or whatever and houses and the theater. So I don't want to say what their intentions were going in the beginning. But right now, after not securing it or doing any work on it for 6 years, I don't think that it would be wise to agree to let it be demolished at this point in time without much further review and, possibly something at town meeting. It just seems like rewarding neglect to a building. As my mother always said growing up, you never reward bad behavior, and not doing anything, even securing the building fully, I don't think was the best behavior in this instance, and that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Step up to the podium, please. State your name and tell us what your comment is.
For the record, Brian Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. This just seems to be a tough situation all around. It's tough for the Clarks. It's very difficult for the town of Chatham. I followed the Clarks through some of these hearings with the single-family homes and the swimming pool, and I gotta be honest with you, no one understands your frustration more than I do with this town. I was a pickleball instructor, and they refused to put wheelchair pickleball courts, so I basically lost my job. So I do understand how you're feeling. And as far as the disrepair, I don't think it's, did they do the repairs? Maybe necessary to get up and going, but a lot of disrepair fell on the previous owners and not the Clarks. Unfortunately, when you are a successful businessman like Mr. Clark, you have to separate business and emotions. The problem here is that the town has a very strong emotional attachment to this building, and for good reason. I mean, this theater brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. From the college program, the kids that did it, all the people that went to the things. I went to them, the productions as a kid. I cooked at the Red Nun, so after theater got out, there was a lot of happy people coming in the Red Nun, to eat and drink afterwards. I just think it would be a shame to not, restore this building. I guess I'm asking, Mr. Clark, if there's anything he could do, if there's anything, anybody could do to get this theater back on the site, I think it would be greatly appreciated. And quite frankly, I think you would be a hero in this town. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak? Good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Mary O'Brady, and full disclosure, I was associated with the Monomoy Theater for decades since coming here as a student in 1981. Many other people have expressed things that have already expressed things that were on my mind, but there's one thing I can't help just positing and putting out to both the town and the Clarks. Real estate developers are not charitable institutions. No one expects that. This is a business. No one, I don't think, unless you had, well, some people might, but I don't think in this case the intention was to come in and give a gift back to the town. However, when this was at least, and I'm only a part-time resident of Chatham, I'm in New York the rest of the time, but I have been with in the theater for 40 years as a director and a producer, and I've worked in 42 states in this country, in theaters in 42 states. When I first heard what the plan was, or that the proposal was for the theater, I was somewhat mystified, given that real estate developers are not in the charity, vein. Yes, of course, it makes sense that there needs to be a profit made to help subsidize plans for the front half of, to restore the theater. And yes, the theater was old. There were things that were not in the best of shape, but some of the things that were said are simply not true. I witnessed and at times participated in many, many repairs that were done to that building. The owners were not that interested, but often patrons from the town. I think someone, paid to have something fixed, someone paid to have this shingled because this place meant that much to the audience. And I know when the owner sold it, we were delighted to hear that Mr. Clark had previous experience restoring historic theaters. Lots of us were thrilled about that, and yet could find absolutely nowhere that that had happened. And I would love to know if that is indeed the case, but because we thought, great, this is the perfect person. Couldn't find anything anywhere about something that had been previously restored. Because I thought, wow, this guy must have great plans and know things I don't. But when I started to hear about the plans for the theater mixed with wine bars, I personally love wine bars and would have likely been an avid patron, things just didn't quite make sense about restoring this theater. There was no rehearsal space. There was no scene shop. I heard things like, oh, you don't need a scene shop anymore. You just buy the sets from other places that have done the play. Utterly preposterous. Sorry, I've been a producer for decades. That happens once in a blue moon. A rehearsal space is essential. But mostly, I was fascinated that there was no parking lot other than for the retail spaces and the wine bar. And with a theater that seats 200 plus people, and I think the plan was to expand it, how on earth does one have a theater without a place for the audience to park? Then I heard, oh, they're going to be bussed in from somewhere. Can you picture the theater audience in Chatham being bussed in from somewhere? And I'm only bringing this up because I dearly miss the Monomoy Theater. I think there's a giant hole in this town, both artistically and socially, in the summertime. It was a place to go every week. People were proud of having that theater as the gateway, the entrance to Chatham. And now we have a rotting corpse. But there's something just a little disingenuous to me about all of that. I'm basing that solely on what I have heard. I would never put motives in anybody's head, especially someone I don't know. But none of this has really quite ever made sense from a practical point of view. And one thing that I know is not true is all the people, many, many people who love this theater used to drive around. The back door was secured with a piece of twine once. My husband and I put a strong stick.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're going to have to.
Yeah, sorry, I've been talking way too long.
I appreciate your comments.
Thank you, and I hope a good outcome happens for everyone in this process.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience before? Okay,
I think he wants to talk.
that's Mr. Clark. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Clark.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say, in retort to some of the comments we've had, we do appreciate people's thoughts and opinions on things, but I hope you base your decision on some factual information. A lot of statements were made that people don't know the facts. And if you were involved with the last 6 years of us coming in front of all the different boards, you would know how serious we were about it. We didn't spend a year going through every board to create a special overlay district because we weren't serious about doing what we said we were going to do. As this gentleman mentioned, the town has fought us on everything on this property, all the way through. And we've tried to come up with ways, and we've told the town, sometimes you have to say, be careful what you wish for, but you will get it. We will now seek to put on this property what is allowed by right, not special permits. We're not going to go that way. So we will proceed with this property. Whether the theater building stays there, it may not ever be a theater, it may be a theater. We've had other discussions with other groups that have talked to us, but we're going to proceed under the guidelines that HPDC has. And we're going to ask you to vote on this tonight. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay. Any of the board have anything else to say, commissioners?
Motion?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. I think I'd like to poll the board and then make a comment. How do you feel about the demolition?
I would not vote in favor of the demolition.
Okay, Sam?
I would not vote in favor.
At this time, no, without the additional evidence as provided by
That's
the
what I'm gonna
applicants.
ask for. Bob?
At this point, no, again, without the additional evidence that we've asked for.
And I would vote no also. Greg, or Victoria, do you want to come back up to the podium? So right now, you would need 3 votes in favor for the demolition. I might suggest a couple things. First of all, I think we need more documentation. I think that would be good if we could see what you have submitted for registration, engineering's report, anything like that that you have. And I would suggest to you, if you'd like to continue this, it might be the best opportunity. I don't know how the commission feels about it. That's only my opinion.
I think at this time, we don't want to continue it. I appreciate you pulling the board and saying what you suggest, but I think he wants to move forward with having you vote on it tonight, and
You don't want to continue it? Is that what you're saying?
we do not know.
Okay.
I think if,
You also have the opportunity to withdraw the application if you wish.
I believe at this time we do not. Is Sarah, with demolition, and if we were to come back later, is it similar to zoning where if they reject something, you can't come back with the same application? Or, because I know different boards have different rules, so I just wanted to.
So there is no sunset clause per se on coming back. However, if the board is to deny your application, it stands. The only right you have is to appeal to the select board. So if the board denies an application, they need to provide written documentation via the denial letter with specific reasons for the denial. That's provided to the applicant. The applicant then has 14 days to appeal to the select board. Then the select board makes a determination whether they agree with the HPDC or not. If the select board disagrees with the HPDC, they can remand it, as you know, back to the HPDC for further review. If the select board agrees with the HPDC, then it goes through the appeals process in the court.
Okay. I think we're still going to have you have a vote this evening on the demolition, if that's okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a regular motion. correct? So under, okay, so under demolition / new construction.
Wait a minute,
I'm
hold
sorry.
it. What?
So if the board is to do a denial based on the motion, you need to provide specific reasoning as to why you're denying the application.
Are we going to be able to do that?
We do that now, Sarah?
Yes.
Oh, right
Prior
now.
to voting.
Okay. I just think that we don't have enough documentation to approve it at this point. I was hoping that you would be willing to do a continuation so we could see this documentation and perhaps, give you a go-ahead. But at this time, that's our reason. We don't have enough documentation to say that it is not historic or anything like that. Is that sufficient, Sarah?
That'll be sufficient, yes.
Okay.
So under demolition/new construction, application 25-084, Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark, application to demolish the existing structure located at 776 Main Street as presented.
Second,
How do you vote?
no,
Deny the application?
denied.
Tim Gilmore votes no. Reasons therefore, no structural or engineering report, no evidence of submission to any Mass Historical Commission or any other commissions.
Sam? How do you vote?
I vote to approve.
You approve to demolish it?
No, I approve.
You approve to deny the
I
application?
approve the
I don't want to put
denial.
words in your mouth, so.
No, don't. Thank you.
Okay, Doug?
I deny the application on the grounds that I feel it's a very important part of Chatham's history.
Okay, I agree. I also deny it. Darcy Sequin.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Sam, what else we have on the agenda?
Several things on the back page, too.
We have an administrative approval and exemption. 25-81 Fleur Jones, care of Stello Construction Enterprises, ratification of a certificate of exemption to replace the rear door on the structure located at 483 Main Street.
Okay, this one was done by Darcy and Doug. I'm just pulling up the application real quick for you. 81 on the other side. And here.
What?
There's another application.
Oh, I
after this
know,
one.
but we're doing this one, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm just pointing out to you.
Don't worry.
Are we good, Sarah?
Yep, so this was the door that was being replaced on the rear of the structure.
Okay, so under administrative approval/exemption, Doug Gratt will make a motion for 25-081 Fleur Jones, care of Stello Construction Enterprises, Inc., ratification of certificate of exemption to replace the rear door on the structure located at 483 Main Street as presented.
Bob Burns, second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Streiber approves.
Doug Grattan approves.
Darcy Sequin approves. Next.
25-82, Whitney Buckley, care of David Cardy Designs, ratification of certificate of exemption to replace a window on the rear of the dwelling located at 1359 Main Street.
This application was reviewed by Mr. Gilmore and Mr. Streiber, and this is the window on the rear of the structure.
So Doug Grant will make a motion again on administrative approval/exemption, application 25-082, Whitney Buckley, care of David Carty Designs, ratification of a certificate of exemption to replace on the rear of the dwelling located at 1539 Main Street as presented.
Bob Burns, second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Streiber approves.
Doug Grattan approves.
Darcy Sequin approves. One more.
Okay,
Two more?
I have to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
25-91 Kenneth Dugan, care of Starbuck Construction Services, ratification of a certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof shingles on a dwelling located at 19 Waterview Circle.
This application was reviewed by Ms. Sequin and Mr. Grattan, and it was to replace with weatherwood shingles on the roof.
Okay, so under administrative approval/exemption, Doug Grant will make a motion, application 25-091, Kenneth Duggan, care of Starbuck Construction Services, Inc., ratification of a certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof shingles on the dwelling located at 19 Waterview Circle as presented.
Bob Burns, second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Streiber approves.
Doug Grattan approves.
and Darcy Sequin approves.
Doug Ratton makes a motion to adjourn.
Bob Burns second. Bob Burns approves.
Tim Gilmore approves.
Sam Strybert approves.
Doug Ratton approves.
Darcy Sequin approves.